284, that's the magic number for India at Pune if they are to win the third ODI between India and West Indies, because 283 is what West Indies managed batting first on this particular track, which to begin with looked a bit slow. That's 95 once again for Shai Hope. He's been the star for them throughout this series. Then Ashley Nurse in the end getting those 40 runs, but the star for India with the ball without doubt. Jasprit Bumrah picking up 35, giving just 35, picking up those 4 wickets, and Kuldeep Yadav also getting 2 wickets. Not a great day for Yuzvendra Chahal and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar as far as India's bowling is concerned. Now, whether West Indies would be able to break their duck of winning a match in this particular tour, we'll have to wait for the next 50 overs to find out. But what they've already done is broken that trend of getting to 300 runs in the 2 ODIs they played before that, because this time they've not managed to do that. You're watching ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. I'm Nikhil Naz, with me Ajit Agarkar and Phil Simmons. Phil, I'll start with you. Do you think Ashley has really nursed Windies back into this game with that 40 odd that he got at the end?
Yeah, I think he's put Windies in a very good position to fight in this game, because before he came in and after the loss of Jason Holder, I think everything slowed up a bit, but he just put that 40 runs is going to make it a fight in total.
Why I said this is a fighting total as well, I'm looking at 283. The last match, India-New Zealand, 230 odd, and India chased that down, but it wasn't really easy, went down to the 40th over.
The last game, Raidu played a really good inning.
Yeah.
But in general, if the top 3 of India don't get a big score, Virat Kohli again went and got 150 last game. India generally struggle to chase down totals or set above par totals. So that'll be the first thing West Indies would ideally be hoping for. If they can get the openers and obviously Virat Kohli not for too many, then that's a decent total, because seemed like the ball gripped every now and then. Still a good wicket. But they'll need early wickets. So it's at one stage it looked like they'll end up 240, 250.
Yeah,
but really good innings from Nurse at the end, and Hope again looked spectacular.
Oh yeah, we will talk about Shai Hope as well. He looks like the best batsman that Windies have at the moment. But the biggest difference that was made on the game today was with the ball. Jasprit Bumrah, he made a return, and as sure enough we were talking before the match started that it's going to be very, very tough for the Windies to go past 300 now that Jasprit is back into the team. And just take a look at the difference of the power play now. We're just looking at the matches that have been played so far. I mean, look at this, 10 matches that he's played right now. He gives away average runs, just 221 with an average wicket of 9 when playing. This is Bumrah, Bhuvi, Chahal and Kuldeep when they're playing together, and this is the impact that they have. Okay, we'll talk about Bumrah a little later, but this is something that you were keen to look at, Ajit, before this inning started, and what do you make of those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, it is evident that when those 4 are playing together, India usually restrict the opposition to a total which is very chaseable, or then defend a total with, I mean, Bumrah again, in spite of not having a lot of cricket over the last month or so, just at it since ball 1, and it also is testament to how well West Indies have batted in this series. In spite of those 4, you can see those numbers. Generally have had teams in trouble, and West Indies have really batted well throughout this series.
Okay, now so this is what we were talking about. We finally have those numbers on the screen right now. You take a look at that first ODI, the power play, 59 for 1, 72 for 2, 46 for 2. Is that the Bumrah effect there?
It is. I think I don't think Bhuvaneshwar Kumar quite looked himself today. Maybe a little bit rusty. He's been carrying a little bit of niggle over the last few months. Maybe just easing himself in. But Bumrah again, not just the incisiveness of the bowling, is picking wickets with the new ball, comes back in the middle of the innings, finishes his job at the end. Just such a hard bowler to face. Not just accurate but quick as well, and a deceptive slower ball. Just makes such a difference to this attack, and would make a difference to any attack, the way he bowls. So Bhuvaneshwar Kumar maybe needs to step it up a little bit as this series go on. He might with a bit more cricket under his belt, but when you have Bumrah in the attack, you can always keep coming back in that game.
numbers. He's bowled the first maiden over in this particular series between both the teams, so no other bowler has been able to do that. Bumrah does that. So not only does he pick up wickets, we saw 4 wickets. Look at his economy rate of 3.50. What did you make of the impact that he had in this match?
It's unbelievable. In his third spell, which was 2 overs for 6 runs, in his 6 overs, he had 2 wickets, and I think this is the big part about it. He gets wickets at the top. The ball he got Powell out with, mind you, a brilliant catch by Rohit, but the ball he got Powell, that's what he can do. And then we see him hitting Jason Holder in the head. You know, it's the variety of deliveries that he has that brings this economy rate to that. You know, the Yorker that he got Shea Hope with is unbelievable. So he has everything, and that's the great thing about having him in your team.
And a Yorker when it's not even reversing. You know, it's such a tough ball to bowl. Okay, when there is a little bit of swing, a lot of bowlers do it. But when there's nothing, just to use that angle and at pace to beat a guy who's on 95 is not easy unless it's a special ball.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask Phil. You know, not just the fact that, you know, the way the delivery was bowled. You're bowling to a man who's batting at 95. I mean, they usually say that it's so easy to spot the ball when you've got runs under your belt in an inning, and yet beat him with pace.
But that's the good thing about him, and that's what makes it so special, because every Yorker he bowled was over 140. And at that stage, you've been fielding for 40-odd overs, you bowled 8 overs or something like that, and you still can get the Yorkers at 140, 142. That's incredible. So he is something to cherish and make sure that he's around for a while.
Okay, the one ball that was really stunning to watch, as we say, as Yorkers more often than not look really nice, but the delivery to Powell, as he talks about, does it really make it? One is being at 140, but he bowls at 140, yet the ball seems like it's flying off the pitch. Is it like is it the heavy ball that he bowls with? Does it seem like that?
Yeah, I mean, his action is unique. It is a bit awkward for batsmen to line him up, but also he has the control. I mean, the ball does zip off the surface, which makes it even harder for the batsman because of his accuracy and the awkwardness of his action. There's even less time for the batsman to adjust. Gets bounced off a good length, and like I keep saying, just so accurate all the time, with all those variations and pace. It's just tough to sort of line up again, and you can see consistently in shorter formats, some of the top batsmen struggle to take him for runs.
We'll talk about Bhuvaneshwar as well, Phil, because Ajit mentioned, did you get a feeling that he was carrying a niggle? I mean, one thing to taper off towards the end of an inning for a fast bowler is pretty normal, but we saw that right at the start as well. Wasn't really 100% when he got the new ball to.
They're 2 different bowlers, and as you said, both haven't played a lot of cricket, but Bumrah has come back and looked sharp, but Bhuvaneshwar, he looks like he's rusty, and it could take him maybe a couple matches, 2 or 3 matches to get back to his normal self. But I'm not sure about the injury side, but he just looked rusty, like he hasn't played cricket for a while.
Yeah, you just need match bowling. I mean, you can bowl 1,000,000 overs or 1,000,000 balls in the net. You need a couple of games at least to start feeling confident of running in and actually bowling the ball instead of just putting it there. Maybe another game, I think it should be okay. Even the Asia Cup we saw started a little bit slow in that game against Hong Kong and just got better as the tournament went on.
We often talk about how far ahead Virat Kohli is to the rest of the batsmen in the world. You're getting that feeling with Jasprit Bumrah. I'm talking globally at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be in the top 2 or 3 in the world who can, maybe a Mitchell Stark, maybe I'm missing a couple other guys, but
Trent Bolt.
Someone like a Rashid Khan, okay, not a seamer, but those sorts of guys who consistently create impact. When the games moved so far ahead in terms of the runs being scored in one-day cricket and the rules being loaded in favor of the batsmen, these guys, not just with the wickets, but even their economies are phenomenal. And it's a tough thing to do with 5 fielders in the ring. Indian conditions, more often than not, that he bowls in. Okay, he's grown up in these, but they're still tough to bowl in. So, India's happy to have him on their side because he's a handful in any conditions.
Okay, those 4 wickets that he's taken today has taken his total wickets tally to 76 ever since he made his debut. He's gone past someone like Trent Bolt, who had a head start compared to Jasprit Bumrah when you look at international. As a coach, you take a look at most fast bowlers across the globe. We were talking about how Virat, seems like he's head and shoulders above the rest as far as batting is concerned. Do you reckon it's the same as far as bowling is concerned for Jasprit Bumrah?
Well, I think at this present moment, he's above the rest, definitely, in his consistency in what he does. When he wants to bowl a Yorker, he runs up and he bowls it. When he wants to bowl a slow ball, and in this inning, he didn't use many slow balls, didn't need to. But the important thing is that when he wants to do it, he runs up and he does it. And you can see the difference in him. And watching a few other games around the world these days, and he is definitely above the rest of seamers out there.
Okay, now we're rather happy with where Windies have reached at the moment, but I'll go back to one crucial turning point in this game. It could have been that wicket of Hetmyer. He's been in splendid form throughout this particular series. What happened there? Did he just forget to take his leg back? Or?
Yeah, I think a real bonus for India. I mean, he felt like, okay, he missed the ball. He's obviously not realized that because he's taken that one step forward, his back foot's on the line. Generally, when batsmen do that, they know they're a little bit outside the crease and they try to get back in. I don't think he did because he thought he was, well inside the crease. Sharp work from MS Dhoni because at least he was aware of the situation. Real bonus because again, just looked very, very good. I mean, he's looked good in the first couple of one days. Got runs, looked really good. I mean, that's a massive positive for West Indies. Him and Hope. In the middle, if they bat as consistently as they have in this series, they've got two real gems in there.
Okay, good stumping there by MS as Ajit mentioned. What about Kuldeep at that point? You thought maybe?
I think that's the thing. We've got to give a lot of credit there to Kuldeep because I think he was beaten in the air with the flight. And I think it was good of him to change the shot, but not realizing that he'd already taken that step down. But I think credit has to go to the bowler because I think he was beaten in the flight there coming down. So it's great to see, that kind of perception from Kuldeep, seeing the batsman advance into him and being able to carry him wide, which was what we were talking about all the time, to bowl to him wider outside the off stump, let him take it from there.
Okay. He might have been beaten in flight, Hetmyer, but one man who's reading Kuldeep Yadav really well has been Shai Hope. He's been outstanding, and the way he's been playing the Indian spinners. Phil, do you think that's the difference that sets him apart compared to the other Windies batsmen? I think probably he's the only Windies batsman who's reading even the variations of Kuldeep Yadav, picking him from the hand itself.
I can't say if he's reading or if he's not reading, but what I can say is that his movement, he's either playing him right back on the stumps or he's playing him long forward, and that's the basic thing in playing spin. We see sometimes he gets beaten with the Chinaman and he's on the back foot and just playing it out to mid wicket and getting a single. So he's either right back or he's all the way forward, and that's what the main things why he is having so much success against the spinners.
Okay, decisive, is that the word that describes him really well, playing the spinner?
Yeah, I mean, just a class player. I think, like Phil said, so decisive the footwork, whether he's going back or on the front foot, and obviously now the experience of having played the same bowlers over the last month or so in a few innings in these conditions. I think there are a couple other West Indies batsmen. I mean, Hetmyer himself and Holder. All of them look really good when they're playing this sorts of. I mean, Kuldeep's bowling really well. So is Chahal, and to face them in these conditions and play them well tells you how much this team has improved.
Is this one batsman, I mean, even though he's batting for an opposition team, you'd rather see him bat for long because he looks so good while batting, Shai Hope?
Yeah, I mean, he had starts in the first few innings, didn't go on, has got that 100 in the last game, and suddenly, today just looked comfortable since the time he's walked in. Missed out on a well-deserved 100, but to a fantastic ball. Couldn't do much about that, otherwise looked set for another 100. I mean, once a batsman sort of gets past that little barrier of those starts that he was getting and somehow finding ways to get out, you can see the class. I mean, whether it's pace or spin, took a special ball to get him out today.
A quick word for Holder, because you're of the opinion that he should bat higher.
Yeah, I wonder what, I wanted to ask Phil what he thinks, because I mean, he's got to bat ahead of Rahman Powell. There's no doubt about it. I mean, come 120 for 5, walks in at 110 for 4, and it just looks like a proper batsman, is in good form or better form than Powell is at the moment. I think it's a bit wasted. I think he just holds himself back a bit too much. I wonder what Phil thinks, because
Phil,
surely he should bat higher than Powell.
We'll let you talk, because this is a trend we saw with him even during test matches, and Ajit thought that he should have even batted higher up even in that longer format. He's not doing that. What do you make of it?
I don't know who is doing that, because I think that when I had him, he wanted to bat at 6, which is where I wanted him to bat all the time. So it's a case where I don't know if he is holding him back, or if the coach is deciding maybe he needs to bat at 7, but he's definitely good enough to bat at 6, and in all formats, in test match and in this, he's good enough to bat at 6. And I think that we saw it today in how easy he was getting runs, how easy he was able to rotate the strike with Shea Hope, and they looked very comfortable at the crease until he got out.
And that once you have that partnership there, then it still gives Rahman Powell the license to come and then go hard at it. Here he's trying to build an inning when he's not in form. He's still trying to read the bowlers. He's not reading them as well as the other batsmen like Holder. I mean, someone's got to figure it out in the dressing room. I mean, he's batting as well as any of the other batsmen in the West Indies team who are in form, and still just being wasted at number 7, sometimes 8. I'm not sure for what.
Who's holding him back? And that's the question that Phil had raised. I think we'll get an answer to that, because I believe the coach is not going to last for very long. He's already decided to move on, so we'll know once the current coach leaves whether Holder changes his batting position or not, and then we'll get the answer who's holding him back. Okay, let's look forward to the Indian batting now. 284, as I said, will be the magic number. The first people to look forward to are the opening pair, that is of Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma, and they're just 14 runs away from being the second most successful opening partnership for India. Right on top, of course, Ganguly and Tendulkar, followed by Sehwag and Tendulkar, and 14 runs is if Dhawan and Sharma, and they'll go past that figure of 3919 to make them the second most successful opening partner. I mean, if you look at that record, that's when you get to realize their contribution, these two of them, and how effective they've been as an opening pair.
Yeah, I mean, different sets of rules that they're playing under different era, but just as effective. I think it's not hidden that the top 3 are basically carrying the Indian batting for a large part of the last couple of years, 3 years even maybe, because one of them, if goes on and get a big 100, or a lot of the times 2 out of the top 3 are getting the runs, which also means that the middle order a lot of the times isn't tested when you're chasing a big total. Could be a good thing, could be one of those things which you don't quite know if the need arises in a big game. But at the moment, India will be happy with the way those 2 at the top and Virat are going, because there's not a lot of work left for the middle order to do once they get going.
Right. Phil, talking about that top 3 at the moment, I mean, that would be the key for the Windies. What do they have to do to ensure that they get those early breakthroughs that India has managed throughout this series to get those early breakthroughs?
I think when you look at the 2, just to go back a little bit, when you look at the 2 of them, you put it in the context of the great teams. The great teams always had that opening pair, Greenidge and Haynes, Matthew Hayden and Justin Langer. So they are putting themselves in that category with Sachin and Ganguly. So West Indies have to come hard at the start, and like Bumrah did, try to bowl test lengths and bumpers and everything. Just try and get 2 wickets, 3 wickets early on. And if that happens, then you put pressure on Rayudu and Dhoni and them. But unless you get early wickets, and unless you prepare to try things to get early wickets, then the target is going to become easy for that batting lineup.
Interesting. Would you go in with that particular strategy? Jasprit Bumrah used it really well, being that fiery bowler that he bowled a few short ones, but you need to have that sort of pace also too.
Yeah, I think the West Indies bowlers do have. I mean, Roach in particular. I mean, he said test lengths, which is what you want to do with the new ball. I mean, okay, if the batsmen get going, then you change. You don't start thinking, I want to try variations at the start, and you still want to bowl good lengths. I think this is a pitch, having played on it, sometimes it is a little bit too paced. A few balls will go through quite quickly off the pitch. Some might hold back. So you want to bowl good lengths and make the batsman play, proper shots. You don't want to start experimenting too early. I think that's the best way to go. With 2 new balls, you want to try and make use of it with whatever little movement you can get early on.
Okay, looking forward to watching MS Dhoni bat now, because things have changed. after that T20 announcement. This is a one-day game, and as you mentioned, things could be affected depending on what happens in T20.
I can't imagine today or in the next game.
No, but he knows these games could be crucial going forward.
Yeah, I think he knows the games could be crucial in terms of him getting some form back as well. I think he came quite late into the innings last game and got a good one. Didn't pick the slower ball. Doesn't usually happen. Doesn't get out bowled too much. He'll want runs just for his own confidence. I think as a batsman, not just because he's MS Dhoni, but just as a batsman, because in a big game, somewhere you're going to have to, go in with India 3 down early, and that time you want to have that confidence behind you. For that, he'll need some runs. He'd be hoping he doesn't have to bat too much today if the top 3 bat. But just as a player, even Rishabh Pant for that matter, he's only played 1 innings in one-day internationals. If he gets an opportunity, he'll want to score some runs as well, and Raidu to carry on his form. So not just MS Dhoni, I know we're talking about him because of this T20 selection, but I think one-day cricket's a little bit different.
Okay, if you're an Indian cricket fan, it's going to be a catch-22 situation for you. On one hand, you'd want India to win and the top 3 to then get runs for that to happen. But then on the other hand, you'd also like to see what happens with a Raidu or an MS Dhoni or a Rishabh Pant, because then you have only those limited one-day matches going ahead to the Cricket World Cup. Ajit Agarkar, Phil Simon, thanks so much for joining us. We'll of course have them back at the end of the match. 283 is the total that India are chasing.